Did you know that the biggest reason houseplants die is not a lack of water, but actually the soil itself? Root rot, fungus gnats, and messy repotting can turn indoor gardening into a nightmare. But what if I told you there is a much easier way? Today, we are going to look at 20 incredible indoor plants that develop roots lightning fast in just plain water. No dirt, no mess, no stress. It sounds crazy, right? We are all taught from a young age that plants absolutely need soil to survive. But I am going to show you why ditching the dirt might be the best thing you ever do for your indoor jungle. By the end of this video, you will know the secret to creating a stunning, low-maintenance indoor water garden. So, are you team soil or team water? Let me know in the comments below right now. Before we dive into our list of 20 amazing plants, let us understand what is actually happening here. Growing plants in water without soil is not just a trendy internet hack. It is actually rooted in an ancient practice called hydroponics. When you take a cutting from a plant and place it in water, a fascinating biological change happens. The plant develops what we call water roots. These are completely different from the thick, tough roots that grow in soil. Water roots are much thinner, more fragile, and perfectly adapted to absorb oxygen and nutrients directly from a liquid environment. This means that when you skip the soil, you are completely eliminating the risk of common soil-borne pests and diseases. Plus, you get to watch the entire hidden root growing process right through the glass. It is like having a science experiment and a beautiful piece of living home decor all in one. Let us start with the absolute champions of the water propagation world. I am talking about the golden pothos and the heartleaf philodendron. If you have ever killed a houseplant, these two are your path to absolute redemption. You might have heard the common myth that you need expensive rooting powders or special chemical hormones to get plants to grow roots. Well, prepare to have your mind blown. The golden pothos actually produces its own natural rooting hormone in very high amounts. In fact, it produces so much of it that experienced gardeners will often put a pothos cutting in the same jar as a stubborn, slow-rooting plant. The pothos acts like a natural booster shot, helping the other plant grow roots much faster. Imagine placing a freshly cut pothos vine in a clear glass jar on your kitchen counter. Within just 5 to 7 days, you will start to see tiny white bumps emerging from the brown nodes on the stem. Those are your new roots waking up. By week 2, you will have a beautiful, intricate root system swirling around the glass. It is like having a living piece of modern art right in your home. The philodendron works exactly the same way. Just make sure you always cut right below a node, because that is the magical spot where the new roots are born. No soil, no messy repotting, just pure aquatic magic. Next up, we have 2 incredibly popular architectural plants, the elegant spider plant and the indestructible snake plant. These 2 add amazing texture to any room. There is a huge myth out there that snake plants will instantly rot if you put them in water. People think because they tolerate dry conditions, water is their enemy. That is simply not true. The secret is all about the depth. If you submerge a whole snake plant leaf deep into a jar, it will turn to mush. But if you just place the very bottom inch of a freshly cut leaf in shallow water, it will sprout beautiful, strong roots within a few weeks. It is an amazing process to watch. Now, the spider plant is even more fun. As a spider plant matures, it grows long stems that produce tiny little baby plants at the ends. We call these spiderets. If you look closely at the bottom of a spiderette, you will see tiny little root nubs already waiting to grow. All you have to do is snip that baby off, float it in a shallow glass of water so only the bottom touches the liquid, and boom! In less than a week, you will have long white roots reaching down into the glass. It is one of the most rewarding and visual plants to grow in water. Plus, you can easily share these babies with your friends and family. Now, if you want a massive explosion of color in your house, you need to look at the coleus and the tradescantia. These plants are famous for their vibrant pink, purple, and deep red leaves. Many people believe that highly colorful plants are delicate and difficult to care for. That is a complete myth. In fact, the tradescantia, also known as the inch plant, grows so aggressively fast that it is almost impossible to stop. If you take a small cutting of a tradescantia and drop it into a glass of tap water, you will literally see roots forming in 48 hours. It is incredibly satisfying to watch. The coleus is just exactly as impressive. Imagine you have a beautiful, bushy coleus in your garden before the winter frost hits. You can simply snip off a few branches, bring them indoors, and stick them in a vase. In a matter of days, thick white roots will shoot out from the stems. You have just saved your favorite outdoor plant and turned it into a stunning indoor water feature. The key here is bright, indirect sunlight. The more light these colorful plants get, the deeper and richer their leaf colors will become. Just be careful not to put them in direct, harsh sun, or the water in your glass will heat up and cook those delicate new roots. Watching these bright purple leaves contrast with the clear water is absolutely breathtaking. Let us move on to the plants that bring good fortune, the lucky bamboo and the money tree. These are staples in offices and homes around the world, known for bringing positive energy and wealth according to feng shui. There is a very common misconception about lucky bamboo. When you buy it at the store, it is usually packed tightly in a vase, filled with pebbles or decorative rocks. People think those rocks are essential for the plant to grow. Let us bust that myth right now. The rocks do absolutely nothing for the plant's health. They are purely cosmetic and just hold the stems upright. Lucky bamboo, which is actually a type of dracena and not real bamboo at all, thrives perfectly in just an inch or two of plain water. The money tree is another fantastic candidate. If you accidentally snap a branch off your money tree, do not throw it away. Just pop that broken branch into a glass of water. It takes a little longer than a pothos, maybe 2 to 3 weeks, but eventually you will see a cluster of sturdy white roots bursting from the bottom of the stem. Both of these plants love distilled or filtered water. If your tap water has too much chlorine, the tips of their leaves might turn brown. So treat them to some nice, clean water, and they will reward you with lush green growth and maybe even a little extra luck. For our 5th block, we are going tropical. We are talking about the iconic Monstera deliciosa and the stunning Rex begonia. The monstera is the absolute king of the indoor jungle with its huge, beautiful leaves full of holes. Now, propagating a massive monstera in water might seem intimidating, but it is actually incredibly easy if you know the secret. The trick is to look for the aerial roots. These are those thick, brown, woody nubs that grow along the main stem. If you take a cutting, that includes at least one of these aerial roots and place it in a large glass vase of water, you will witness something spectacular. That dry brown aerial root will quickly activate and sprout dozens of fresh white water roots. It is like watching a sleeping giant wake up. On the other hand, the Rex begonia offers a totally different experience. These plants have painted, metallic-looking leaves that look almost fake. The amazing thing about begonias is that you can grow a whole new plant from just a single leaf. You do not even need a big stem. Just take a healthy leaf, snip it with a little bit of the petiole attached, and suspend it in water. Soon, tiny little baby leaves will start growing right at the base of the stem underwater. It is a true miracle of nature that never gets old to watch. Let us slow things down and look at two very elegant classic plants, the peace lily and English ivy. The peace lily is famous for its beautiful white blooms and its ability to tell you exactly when it is thirsty by dramatically drooping its leaves. Many people think peace lilies belong exclusively in dark corners, planted in heavy soil. But you can actually transition an entire mature peace lily from dirt into a beautiful water vase. It is a stunning look. You just have to be very gentle. Take the plant out of its pot and carefully wash away every single speck of dirt from the roots under a running faucet. If you leave dirt on the roots, it will rot in the water. Once clean, place it in a glass vase. It will look like an elegant living sculpture. English ivy is perfect for those who love a romantic, trailing look. You can take long vines of ivy and place them in a series of small glass bottles along a windowsill. They root very quickly along the stem. The myth here is that ivy only grows outdoors on brick walls. Indoors, in just water, English ivy creates a delicate, cascading curtain of green. Just make sure to keep the leaves themselves out of the water. Only the bare stem should be submerged. If leaves sit in the water, they will get slimy and ruin the whole setup. Did you know you can also create a soil-free garden right in your kitchen? Yes, we are talking about culinary herbs. Mint, basil, and rosemary are not just for cooking, they are some of the fastest rooting plants you can put in water. Imagine never having to buy those expensive little plastic packs of fresh herbs from the grocery store ever again. It is totally possible. Let us take basil, for example. If you buy a bunch of fresh basil, do not just leave it in the fridge to go bad. Snip the bottom of a few stems and put them in a glass of water on your kitchen counter. In just 3 to 5 days, you will see a massive explosion of fuzzy white roots. It happens incredibly fast. Mint is exactly the same. Mint is basically a weed, and it wants to survive. Plunk a stem in water, and it will root almost instantly. Rosemary takes a little bit more time because its stems are woody, similar to a tree branch. But with a little patience, it will also develop a strong root system. The best part about growing herbs in water is that they are totally functional. You have beautiful, fragrant greenery decorating your kitchen, and when you are making pasta or a cocktail, you just reach over and pinch off exactly what you need. It is the ultimate practical houseplant. Now we are moving on to two exotic beauties that are perfect for low-light situations. The Syngonium, also known as the arrowhead plant, and the Aglaonema, or Chinese evergreen. These plants come in amazing shades of silver, pink, and bright green. There is a persistent myth in the plant community that water propagation is only a temporary phase. People say you absolutely must move the plant to soil once the roots are a few inches long, otherwise it will die. I am here to tell you that is a massive myth. Both the arrowhead plant and the Chinese evergreen can live completely happy, healthy lives entirely in water for years. The secret is simple. Tap water does not have the necessary nutrients that soil provides. So, if you want to keep them in water permanently, you just need to add a single drop of liquid hydroponic fertilizer to the water every month during the growing season. That is it. The arrowhead plant will continuously grow new pointy leaves, and the Chinese evergreen will maintain its stunning, vibrant patterns. They look incredibly modern and clean when placed in minimalist glass cylinders. It completely elevates the look of the plant, turning an ordinary houseplant into a high-end designer piece without any of the mess. Let us talk about the delicate trailing beauties, the string of hearts, and the Pilea peperomioides, famously known as the Chinese money plant. The string of hearts is a gorgeous, delicate vine with tiny heart-shaped leaves that look like they are printed with a silver pattern. When propagating this plant, temperature is your best friend. A common mistake is using ice-cold tap water. Cold water will shock these delicate plants and halt the rooting process completely. Always use room temperature or even slightly lukewarm water. For the string of hearts, you can use the butterfly method. You cut the vine so you have 2 little leaves and a tiny piece of stem, and let that stem float gently in the water. Soon, you will see tiny pinkish roots diving down. The Pilea, with its perfectly round, pancake-like leaves, is another fun one. Pileas constantly produce little baby plants, called pups, right out of the soil around the mother plant. If you carefully dig a little and snip a pup off the main stem, you can drop it right into a small shot glass of water. Because the pups already have a connection to the mother's root system, they adapt to water incredibly fast. Watching those distinct round green leaves suspended over clear water is incredibly charming. Next up, we have the sturdy giants, the Ficus elastica, known as the rubber plant, and the Ficus lyrata, the famous fiddle-leaf fig. These plants have thick, woody stems and massive, leathery leaves. Because they look so much like small trees, there is a strong myth that you simply cannot propagate them in water. People assume that hard wood will not produce soft water roots. This is completely false. You absolutely can root a rubber tree or a fiddle-leaf fig in water. It just requires a different strategy. First, you need a healthy cutting with at least 1 big leaf and a bit of the woody stem. Second, you must have patience. While a pothos takes days, a ficus might take 4 to 8 weeks to show any signs of life. The biggest secret here is using an opaque or dark-colored container instead of clear glass. Roots naturally grow underground in the dark. By placing your thick woody cuttings in a dark vase, you simulate the underground environment, which encourages the hard stem to push out roots much faster. You also need to change the water religiously once a week to prevent the wood from rotting. Once those thick, noodle-like roots finally emerge, it is one of the most satisfying feelings in the world. Prepare to be totally surprised by block number 11. We are talking about succulents. Yes, you heard that right. The jade plant and the Christmas cactus. Succulents are desert plants that store water in their fleshy leaves. The golden rule of succulents is never overwater them, or they will turn to mush. So, putting them entirely in water sounds like a death sentence. But here is the amazing truth. You can water propagate them if you use a specific technique. It is called water suspension. Instead of dropping a jade leaf directly into the water, you take a jar, fill it with water, and cover the top with plastic wrap. Poke a tiny hole in the plastic and rest the jade leaf or the Christmas cactus segment so that it is hovering just barely above the water level, not touching the liquid. The succulent senses the high humidity directly below it. Driven by survival instincts, it will push brilliant pink and white roots straight down through the air to reach the water. It is a spectacular survival mechanism to witness. Once the roots hit the water, they adapt instantly. It completely defies everything you thought you knew about succulent care and is a fantastic trick to impress your gardening friends. For our final block, let us talk about the essential golden rules for keeping all 20 of these amazing plants thriving in their new aquatic homes. First, let us tackle the water itself. Do not just blast cold tap water into a jar and walk away. Tap water contains chlorine and fluoride, which can burn delicate new roots. The best practice is to fill a jug with tap water and leave it sitting out on the counter for 24 hours. This allows the harsh chemicals to evaporate safely. Next, address the myth that once a plant is in water, you can just forget about it. Stagnant water loses its oxygen over time. If the water runs out of oxygen, your roots will literally suffocate and rot. You must change the water completely every 7 to 10 days. When you do, give the glass a good rinse to remove any slippery algae building up on the sides. Finally, the golden rule of placement. Never, ever let leaves sit below the waterline. Leaves are not designed to be submerged. They will quickly decay, turn the water cloudy, and kill the stem. Strip the bottom leaves off your cuttings so only the bare stem is swimming. Follow these simple rules, and your soil-free jungle will be absolutely unstoppable. And there you have it, the most amazing part of all this. Once your plants develop these water roots, you never actually have to put them back into dirt. You can keep them in beautiful glass jars, vases, and bottles forever. 20 stunning plants, 0 messy dirt, and 100% success rate if you follow the simple tips we talked about today. By ditching the soil, you say goodbye to fungus gnats, overwatering panics, and the huge mess of repotting. You get to watch the fascinating hidden life of roots unfolding right before your eyes. Thank you so much for watching and hanging out with me today. If you learned something new and are excited to try soil-free gardening, please smash that subscribe button and give this video a big thumbs up. It really helps the channel grow. Now, I want to hear from you. Out of all 20 plants we covered today, from the fast-growing pothos to the surprising jade plant, which one are you going to put in water first? Let me know your top pick in the comments below, and I will see you in the next video.